Hello and welcome back to yet another Geek Show, and I don't have anything funny to say because Dalton's a dick. I'm your host, Alex Ecker.
I'm your host, Dalton Muddle.
I'm your host, Josh Keir.
I'm sorry, that was pretty mean of me, dude. Not really, I'm not sorry, it's cool.
All right, so we kind of done goofed, and now it's been a while since we've had a proper regular weekly episode.
Yep.
We did have one last week, but that was with a guest, and we tried to take care to give him as much of our time as possible. And so my point is, we have a huge backlog of things to talk about now. Let's rush through some stuff.
Really, I thought we could talk about Game of Thrones Season 8 again. 'Cause I haven't gotten enough out of it the last two times.
Actually, Dalton, I don't know
Maybe
if you...
Sekiro when we're done.
I don't know if you've seen the whole shit about Spider-Man going on with Disney.
Oh
God.
Do we really want to start this show off on a depressing note? Because I'll go there. We'll go there.
Let's go sad, and then we can go happy.
No, I can summarize my thoughts as fuck Sony. All right, we're done.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm going to second that.
Thanks for bringing that up now.
Okay, so I have something we can start off with.
Go for it.
That I'm really mad about. Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. The ending was shit, and I'm mad.
They gave it an ending now?
Yes, I am.
That means they're done working on it?
I don't know. That's the thing. Here's what they did. The game started out as a fucking online multiplayer thing, okay? You're fighting the stupid-ass leaderboard for points that don't mean anything. Then they give it a couple months. All right, here's a story with an Act 1 and an Act 2, and there are 12 chapters. Okay, cool. Couple months down the road, oh, cool, more extra characters. The newest update is Act 3, which is 4 fights, a bullshit story that makes no sense, and Lord Zed. It's garbage. Like, okay, no, I'm not done.
Wait, no, I was just confused. Was there something in there yet that I was supposed to be upset about, or is it just that it was a bad story?
It was an awful story. Let me explain. It goes off of the Shattered Grid comics, which, spoilers for anybody reading them. I just started reading the Shattered Grid. Tommy dies. Like, the Green Ranger is just dead in the comics, and in the game, in the final act, he's dead in the game. Like, the first part of the story, he dies, and like they need Rita's help and blah 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 blah, and she comes from a different timeline. And then out of nowhere, in the end of the game, Tommy's just alive again. They don't explain how he comes back to life, and you just fight Lord Draken, and that's the end. And like, there's like a synopsis at the end where he's like, oh, I'll never be him because I have friends. And then like all the other Rangers come up and they were like, man, we're glad to see you. And then it just fucking the end. And then
so
credits.
This wasn't like, it wasn't done as like a teaser where it's like, find out why he's still alive.
Right.
Or why he's alive again.
It's just
a continuity error.
He just appears out of nowhere. There's no explanation as to why he's still alive in the game. It's just a cutscene. It's like, I want to say Kyle Higgins, he does the comic books. I think that's his name. Anyways, it's Boom Studios, and I think they do the illustrations because it's not like animated cutscenes. It's stills with like fancy camera work on them. No explanation. All you see is a silhouette and a door, and then it's the Green Ranger back to life. And it's like, how?
And now you gotta hope the comic tries to explain it.
Yeah, that's what made me go and spend like $20 on comic books to go find out what actually happens, because it's garbage. I don't know if they're intentionally trying to ruin Power Rangers, like with this new bullshit reboot that they're doing, and this crappy cop-out story of a video game that people were like, oh, this is awesome. And then like, I'm like scrolling through like the subreddit, and you can kind of see the hype just die. Because it was like, I can't wait for this game. And then it was like, guys, is this game even worth it? It's like $20, but I don't think it's worth it. Like, well, there was a huge thing with the PS4, the PS4 port of it, where the update came out, and it took like months for the update to actually work on the PlayStation 4. Like, it was awful.
You know, you kind of just described my experience waiting for No Man's Sky VR, where it was a few weeks of everyone being super stoked and pumped, and then a few hours of, man, this game really doesn't run well, and then a few hours of, but is the game worth it anyway?
Right.
With the answers being, I don't know.
Doesn't that just describe the No Man's Sky experience in a nutshell?
Fair enough. But and
I bought it for the record. I'm not ready to talk about it yet.
oh, okay.
It'll happen.
Let me wrap this up. If you like the Power Rangers series, read the comic book because it is so much better, and your $20 would be way more better invested than the shitty fucking Battle for the Grid game.
Are these things canon with the still running show?
Yep. I'm pretty sure it was Saban approved, but I don't know if it's because Saban got bought out by Hasbro, I think.
Well, yeah, but something being like an officially licensed Saban product doesn't make it canon because that recent movie wasn't canon to that continuity. It was its own
I don't know.
thing.
Like, I want to say that I'm almost positive that the comic books are canon. For example, there was that promo trailer that they did back when they announced Shattered Grid, and they had Jason David Frank in the Lord Draken suit.
Mm-hmm.
He said that was Saban approved.
Well, I guess it has more recent characters in it too, right? It's a mix of old and new, so so I guess it probably is then.
I would assume so because like it does have like. I think the newest series that they're on is called Ninja Steel, and I'm pretty sure they were just in the comic book panels I read. So yeah, I honestly put your money into the comic books and not the game. The game, like, I was super pumped for it, and I'm still kind of interested to see what characters they put into it, but the story was garbage. If you're looking for the story, don't buy it.
Okay, speaking of things I'm disappointed in, and I haven't said this yet, but Alex, we both watched Detective Pikachu.
I was waiting for you to just say, but Alex, and then just stop.
There's things I'm disappointed in. You. You've been nothing but a disappointment to me.
Let's talk about you, Alex.
Well, I'm 25.
So Detective Pikachu is just, it's really hit or miss to the point where I'm not mad that I watched it, but I would be mad if I had watched it in the theater. Just a big mix of things it does right and things it does wrong to me. The things it does right are like, I don't know about you guys, but I was generally happy with
Josh, you've
the
seen
actual
this movie,
Pokemon
right?
designs.
No, I haven't, but it's fine.
You haven't?
No.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I am thoroughly happy with all the designs of the Pokemon.
Except Mewtwo.
And Mewtwo looked weird. He looked like...
Mewtwo looks terrible.
He looked like the turkey before it's cooked on Thanksgiving.
It's just it's like a really gross texture. Something's wrong with his face. If you wanted to compare these characters to like game generations, for some reason Mewtwo looks like he came from a generation earlier than everyone else in the movie.
Yeah, he kind of does.
Just a weird, inconsistent quality there.
I loved
generally
the story.
Thrilled with the designs.
I actually really loved the story of the movie.
Okay, not a positive for me, but let me just rush through my other positives. The music is great.
Yes.
I kept listening to it thinking, man, this has really good music going for it. And then it hit the credits, and it was done by Henry Jackman, who, off the top of my head, I know from The Winter Soldier and X-Men First Class, and I think Big Hero 6 and Wreck-It Ralph.
Ooh, okay.
He's pretty awesome. The music's consistently great. Character designs are great. I liked the world building.
Yes.
The fact that this didn't feel like they put Pokemon into our real world. It felt like an actual Pokemon world. Like there's architecture that resembles the games. Like it doesn't look like America.
Yeah, no, I completely
sense.
agree. And I love how they justified not having trainer battles. Like that was a good story, like a world building experiment where, hey, these Pokemon and us, we just work together. We don't battle them and we don't train. You know,
Josh, this is a particular city that it takes place in that just decides, you know what, we've moved past that. We cooperate together with Pokemon. We don't train them.
I ain't even gonna lie. In the first few scenes of the movie, I lost my shit at how adorable Cubone was. And how funny Cubone was at the same time.
Cubone's great. There's a lot of really good humor. Pikachu himself is consistently funny for me. It works on a humor level.
Yeah.
I just couldn't give a shit less about the story. It's just really generic mustache twirly stuff to me. Like it works on the level of let's get pulled into the world of Pokemon and let's get some good laughs out of Ryan Reynolds. But past that, like, I don't really think any of the actors were good. So I didn't really care what was happening to them.
Yeah.
The villain is just the most generic, cliche nonsense.
But it's expected from Pokemon.
Just a motivation I've seen in a million other movies with a mustache twirly villain. Not that Pokemon has ever been like
Game of Thrones,
Shakespeare, or Game of Thrones, but it's just it's weird. On a humor level, they wanted this to work for adults. On a story level, they didn't care if it worked for adults.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
For a Pokemon movie, it hits the spot. For if you're looking for more, it doesn't, I think.
Josh, have you as an adult tried to go back and watch early Pokemon?
Yes, actually. One of the last times that Twitch did one of their like Twitch watches thing where they broadcasted the entire like Indigo League season. It was just running 24/7 for like a week or so, and I caught most of it. I mean, it is held up purely by nostalgia and nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So if they were trying to emulate exactly that vibe, they did it. So
yeah, no, totally they did.
I guess there's that, but that's all it really did. I don't know if I have any other comments.
Okay.
I still haven't seen that movie because I just don't.
Dude,
I just don't watch
wait until
movies
you see
anymore,
Agumon.
But always my favorite Pokemon.
Oh, I know. Agumon is the best Pokemon.
Blue Eyes White Dragon was pretty great.
What about Red Eyes Black Dragon? What about Blue?
Charizard actually was great.
Charizard was fucking cool.
Dude, Charizard is a Digimon. What are you talking about?
Blue Eyes White Claw.
I should also mention I predicted the ending to this movie the first time I watched the first trailer.
Well. Here.
So that's always
here's a quarter.
A great feeling.
Go throw it in the jukebox, kid. You've earned it.
So, anyway, this movie, I don't know if they said it gets a sequel or if they just said they're doing more live-action Pokemon movies.
I'm excited for more. I don't even care about it being a sequel.
Whichever one's the case, I'll watch more, but I'm going to wait to watch them at home.
Yeah.
I'm going to save my money. That's where I'm at with this franchise.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
Yeah. So another thing that Alex and I both did is play Evoland together.
Josh. Yeah, Josh. We do
familiar,
things
Josh?
together.
Okay, well, wow. I'm feeling very attacked right now. I never even knew that this was happening, so...
Yeah.
We're going to play a game together and not tell you, and then be mad about it mad at you for not playing it with us. Thanks, Alex. That makes a lot of fucking sense.
Oh, shit. Did we accidentally just let Josh know that we put Let's Plays on YouTube?
Uh-oh.
What?
We better not tell him about the Discord.
Anyways, Josh, are you familiar with Evoland?
The name rings a bell, but I'm completely blanking on what kind of game it is right now.
You're gonna be soon. It's going up soon.
Gonna be what?
You're gonna be familiar with it soon. Because
when
I'm gonna
you
be
fucking tell me
soon.
about it right now.
No. You're not going to be told about it at all. Dalton and I are going to talk about it exclusively, and you have to leave the room.
All right, Evoland is basically just kind of a love letter to other games from the 90s, really. It's like a maybe 2-hour little indie thing that kind of emulates pieces of Zelda, pieces of Final Fantasy VII, and pieces of Diablo, I guess would be the main three. And basically,
Dragon Quest.
Combination of
basically
properties
as you play it,
yep.
As you play it, you're basically opening up chests, but instead of usually loot, what you unlock is another gameplay feature that kind of pushes you forward into another era. So you slowly move from something resembling an original Game Boy game to maybe early PS2, late PS1, that kind of era.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, just being filled with references to the games I mentioned. Like your main character's name is Clink. You can guess the inspiration behind that.
And Clank from the Ratchet and Clank series. I get it. It makes perfect sense.
it's not a particularly compelling story, but it's just a really fun little 2-hour romp referencing other things that you love, and you get to go, I get that joke. That's nice.
Yeah.
I'm included. I get more of the jokes now that I've actually played some Zelda games. I hadn't when I first played this many years back.
Dalton realized that this love letter wasn't written to him specifically.
I understood the Final Fantasy VII references.
Well, then there's
the first
Evoland 2, which does it way better, I think.
Evoland 2 is more of a full-length game and a proper RPG, and in a way, a big tribute to Chrono Trigger, I would say.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that one. Definitely more Chrono Trigger in that game, which I love Chrono Trigger, and I'm not going down that rabbit hole again. But I'll talk about Sekiro.
Can we spotlight Chrono Trigger at some point, though? Because I love that game.
Yeah, dude, we need to. It's gonna be fun as shit.
Yeah, also, when Limit Break finally releases an album, it's gonna be 50% Chrono Trigger, so...
How many tracks are we working on from Chrono Trigger? 3?
So I should probably finish Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
The music in this game is a highlight because the person composing for this game, who I believe at this point has only done Evoland and Evoland 2, he does a really good Koji Kondo impression and a really good Nobuo Uematsu impression.
Definitely he does.
So it's totally worth it on those grounds alone, game aside. So recommended. That's all I have on that.
There you
go. Yeah.
Josh, what do you got?
All right, so this was, I think, a couple weeks back now, but I was playing. I was at a get together with some friends, and we were playing this kind of competitive. We played a little bit of this competitive like dungeon crawler roguelike called Crawl. I don't know. I had never heard of this game before. My one friend pulled it out and said, "Hey, we should all play this." Apparently it came out about like 2.5 years ago or so. What it is, it starts off looking like your typical like roguelike dungeon crawler where, the rooms are randomly generated, you move through, you fight enemies, you collect loot, you buy weapons or spells, and you try to get as far down to the dungeon you can and fight the boss. The twist is that this is a 4-player game, and only one person at any given time is the human character. Everybody else is a specter that flies around the stage, and as a specter, you can do a lot of things. You can possess traps within all the rooms. You can possess like boxes and pots and things, and when you're possessing the pot, you can actually kind of fling yourself in the direction of the hero and try to damage them. There are like arrow launching traps or fireball traps that you can possess as well. And you can also just possess any of the monsters in the dungeon. And then you take control of the monsters and you try to fight the hero as the monster. And if you get the last hit that reduces the hero's hit points to 0, then your character becomes the hero, and now you're in the driver's seat and you start to go through the dungeon. So it's a real this is not a cooperative game at all. You are trying to kill your friends at every given time, and when you're a human, you're desperately trying to find a shop so you can you can spend your gold in buying some better gear, because as you level up as a human, all of the Spectre players will get an additional resource that in between floors of the dungeon they can use to upgrade the monsters that they spawn in as. So there's a really interesting 2-tiered progression system where the human character will use gold to buy weapons and armor and magic spells, and sometimes some stat increasing trinkets or things that do some other things. And while you're a monster, you instead generate a resource called Wrath that you use in between stages to upgrade the monsters that you're controlling, which will then give you a better chance of defeating the hero and taking him over yourself. You actually only get gold when you, as a monster, land a hit on the human player. So there's a really it does a really good way of, like, if you're the human and you've just been going on a tear and you've been the human for a very long time, you're not actually generating any money for yourself. You're increasing your experience level, which is the ultimate goal. Is you have to as the human reach level 10 of experience and then go through a portal where you can fight the boss of the dungeon, which is generally some kind of giant tri-appendaged creature that all of your friends will be taking control of one of the appendages. Like the one boss that I fought, it was a 3-headed Hydra, and the other players can control one of each of the heads. So, like, one head was shooting, like, fire breath, the other head was shooting out these bubbles that would trap you in them if you got hit, the other one was shooting, like, lightning breath or something. So you're not really getting any closer to becoming more powerful as the human, but you are getting closer to the end goal. But if you spend a lot of time as the monster, you're building up a ton of money, and then suddenly, if you become human at the right time, you can go buy a whole truckload full of magic swords, and then just completely bowl your way through the rest of the dungeon. So, I played this game for a few hours. It's really fun as a party game. Like I said, I played it with a full group of 4 people. I don't think it would be as good. I don't see anything that would have caused me to want to play the game solo. And I don't think it would be as good with any less than 4 players. But I will say, as like a 4-player party game, this game was hilarious. It was a little bit rage-inducing at times, but kind of in the fun way. I'd wholly recommend it. It's called Crawl again. And yeah, if you like roguelikes, if you like hating your friends, it's a good game.
So is this like a tabletop?
No, it is a video game. I was playing this on my friend's Switch, but I think it's on PC as well.
Okay.
In fact,
dude,
I remember looking this up on Steam.
Maybe
it's there, $15.
Yep, there you go.
Maybe if you want to be included in us playing games, we can all play it if we get a 4th player.
Shouldn't be too hard.
Nah, shouldn't be hard at all. But only if you behave.
I have never behaved a day in my life, Alex. I'm not going to start now.
Fair.
All right, noted for future reference. Sounds good. Okay, guys, there was a game that I recently said to you guys. I started playing this,
and you suck at it.
Technically, no. And I mentioned I wouldn't actually be able to talk about it anytime soon because it would theoretically take like years to actually consume all the content. And so today, I have rage quit Final Fantasy XI until further notice.
Okay.
Whoa.
Not because like I was bad at it, but because the whole the interface, the whole interaction with it is so incredibly dated and frustrating that I'd rather at this point wait for the mobile remake that they're supposedly working on. I say supposedly because they officially announced it, but I think it's been a couple years since any like updates have been given on their progress. So Final Fantasy XI was a PS2 game, and you can tell looking at the thing, and graphics-wise, it's no big deal since you can still run it in whatever resolution you want, other than things like just the interface being poorly designed for modern resolutions, or the fact that like character names hovering over them are this pre-rendered text.
Are they leet speak?
It's like a texture. It's like a texture of text that doesn't scale to your resolution. And it's just this blurry, ugly mess and whatever. But however many years back it was, they discontinued running it on PS2 and it became a PC-only game, but they stopped making substantial updates to it, apparently on the grounds that it requires PS2 dev kits for them to work on it, and those hardly exist today.
Wow.
Now, this mobile version is apparently a ground-up remake, because what else are you going to do besides start all over? They've also said that they're planning something big for the 20th anniversary, which would be, 2021 or 2022, something like that. And I am hoping that what that is that part way through developing the mobile version, they realized, you know what, we may as well just release this on everything. whether that remake ends up on PC or not, I'm just going to wait until it's on mobile to try again, because it's just frustrating to interact with. Not that it's hard. It's not that I'm going out to do a mission and I'm getting whooped and, oh, now I got to grind forever. It's just frustrating to actually, like, okay, you can choose between a controller control scheme, a mouse and keyboard scheme, or a just keyboard scheme, and they're all awful. I could never pick one and get used to any of them because they all suck. Just little things like, why would opening a map ever not be one button?
Yeah.
Why do you have to open a menu and go through it to get to a map in any game?
Right. Yeah.
Just things like that.
Dude, can I backpedal a second?
Sure.
This game is almost 20 years old.
Yeah.
Nope.
Still running.
You know, I'm gonna rant for a second. I had a conversation with a coworker today, and like I this is kind of a new coworker. I just happen to ask him, how old are you? He's like 27, and I'm like, oh, cool, I'm 25. And he's like, yeah, we're at that age where we're not old, but we know we're getting old. You just proved that with this, because I feel like this game did not come out that long ago.
Well, and I'm sure some of that is because 11 is not a significantly lower number than 15.
Yeah, that's it, too. That's the thing. Like, I don't know. I remember taking family vacation trips to Maine and seeing, like, the game used for, like, $30 when it was still kind of new. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is a game. I don't know if I ever wanted to play it. I don't know, man. It's weird. I'm feeling old now.
So I still want to, absorb what this game has to offer. Like, I've listened to the soundtrack. I know that it's great. I know that the people that play it get pulled in by the story. But since I know this remake is coming, I'm just gonna wait for it. Just even opening the game, it takes like 3 minutes to get into the game because you have to navigate through menus and enter, I swear to God, 3 passwords. And I'm not even sure, like, one of them is for a service called Play Online that has literally only ever existed for Final Fantasy XI, and yet it's a separate login than Final Fantasy XI.
Wow. What if their big announcement is that they're redoing the PS2 dev kits?
Sony manufactured more of these just for us. Jeez.
That'd be funny.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, no.
Okay. Another reason to kind of rage quit is that I'm really not okay with the pricing structure here.
How much?
On a moral
Is it
level.
a monthly subscription for this game, too?
It is.
Okay.
Which is a long-standing tradition in MMOs, and not necessarily something I think is wrong for MMOs, especially given that, this standard of having an MMO and charging monthly for it, this began before it was just easy to put online in every game and make servers for everything. So I get that that's a thing and that we're a little more lenient on MMOs and their pricing for that reason, because it comes from a time when running servers took more work and money. But my issue here is that this is a game that hasn't received major updates in years. In a time where plenty of games are online, isn't what you're paying for monthly really supposed to be the further development of this game, not just server hosting?
Yeah, I'll give you that.
So I actually don't remember what the monthly cost is, because I never went past I think it was a month free trial, never paid for a month. Maybe it was $10, which... $120 in a year for a game that's not being actively developed?
Yeah, that's not right.
I have problems with that.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. Hopefully, when this mobile version comes out, they start putting actual effort into further development, and I can feel less sturdy about giving them money for nothing.
Dalton's going to give money to a mobile game.
Well, Dalton, you just quit playing Final Fantasy XI at the perfect time, because that means you have enough free time to play World of Warcraft Classic when it comes out next week.
Or Sekiro.
So if you
touche and touche.
If you haven't gotten your fill of MMORPGs from the early 2000s, here comes Big Daddy.
Is Classic gonna have a monthly fee?
Yes.
Well, here's the other thing, guys. We need to start working on beating Final Fantasy VII before we fucking go to MMOs. Because I want our guest to come back onto the Broccoli Boys channel.
It's based on what platform I'm sitting at, though. I'm playing Final Fantasy VII on my Switch.
Which, by the way, Josh, how has your journey through the Game of Thrones mobile game gone?
I won.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I won.
Fantastic. Can't wait to spotlight
By
it.
not playing?
Shit.
It turns out the answer to the question who would be worse than Bran on the Iron Throne is me. Actually, I'm even worse.
Fair enough. All right, I've got a million more things on my list, but what do either of you have?
Okay. I played Freedom Planet and beat it in I beat it in one sitting.
The real Sonic the Hedgehog 4.
Yeah.
I guess that's Sonic Mania now.
Yeah. I really liked this game. Like, it was really good. The art style, the character relationships felt a little too anime for me.
Honestly, when I played it, I bypassed all the story.
Oh, I didn't. I wanted to be invested.
I appreciated that they bothered to like animate the character interactions like Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I guess we should point out this is basically a big retro Sonic the Hedgehog tribute kind of thing.
Yeah.
That
We've definitely talked about
grew
Freedom Planet
into
on
its
the show
own thing.
before.
Actually, during the OVA spotlight of Sonic, because it was Planet Freedom was in that movie. It was Freedom Planet.
Right.
How'd they get away with that? Yeah. But so I did appreciate that they bothered to animate the character interactions, and it visually, like, it looks really good. I just didn't care about the
What
story.
I did enjoy, though, was the fully acted cutscenes, even though some of the voice acting wasn't really all that fantastic. I can't complain because it's a game that's basically a Sonic clone, but does it better. So even though the fact that there was voice acting, it was appreciated, because not a lot of games really like to do that anymore, especially something that's like a Sonic game, you know? With games like that, it tends to be visual explanation versus story driven plot, you know? Like in Sonic 3, where Knuckles just pops up, laughs like a little bitch, takes all the emeralds and runs. Now you have to get him back. No, this one was like, hey, this is what's going on. You have an alien in your planet. You know what I mean? We need to kill that alien. It had a lot of good funny moments. The one thing that really got me laughing was just the random guard that was a duck. And he's just in the middle of a cutscene, you just hear whack.
Voice acting.
Yeah, voice acting, 10 out of 10. But no
on an
Knuckles
actual
hats.
gameplay. On an actual gameplay level, though,
it's fantastic.
I'd have to replay this one and Sonic Mania now, but for a while there, I was calling Freedom Planet the best Sonic game.
I just don't think I'm good at Sonic games. I didn't have a hard time. Like I said, I beat this game in one sitting, but I think it did things more fluidly than the old Sonic games did. I mean, Sonic 3 and Knuckles aside, like, those were probably the most fluid games. I actually had a hard time with Mania. I never beat it. I did beat Generations, though.
Mania was hard.
Mania is difficult. I really appreciated the fact in Mania, though, that they did Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine.
I love that boss. That came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That one cut deep.
Yeah, it did.
Maybe we should. We're probably gonna spotlight Mania at some point.
Yeah,
maybe we should shut up.
Okay. Yeah, maybe.
We're probably gonna spotlight Freedom Planet too, but
off topic. Am I the only one?
I already bought Mania. I have to spend money on this other game.
Josh, we still got to set you up with my Steam library.
Yes, give me free video games.
But talking Mean Bean Machine, who else spent actually? If they feel like a decent amount of time more than they should have on Mean Bean Machine.
So,
like, owned it as a kid, because I did.
Yeah, like, did you spend more than enough time than you think should have been spent on it?
I'm more familiar with it as Kirby's Avalanche, which is the exact same game but with a Kirby skin. So,
okay,
that's just. I didn't have a Genesis. I had a SNES.
Okay.
And these are both a reskin of something else, isn't it?
Puyo Pop.
Okay.
Puyo Pop.
Maybe I should check out the OG.
Yeah. And Pokemon Puzzle League while you're at it, which is not this game, but is another reskin of a puzzle game.
Tetris Attack.
That's great.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm full of fun facts today, but I am.
Yeah.
Hey, nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. So, Freedom Planet, I recommend.
Yeah, absolutely. It's worth it.
All right, cool.
So,
All right,
yeah,
Josh.
I started watching a show called Letterkenney. Is anybody familiar?
Did you just say you're watching something?
I did. It's a TV show. It's
okay.
not a
That's
movie.
cute.
I'm actually watching two things, but I can only talk about one of them because I finished the first season of this show, Letterkenney, which is a comedy. I think it's out of Canada, actually. And the reason why I'm able to talk about season 1 is because you can tell it's not an American show because the season is 6 episodes long. But how do I explain this show? I would say it is a combination of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia if all of the characters were Hicks and Napoleon Dynamite.
I have no idea if you just sold me or not.
This show almost defies explanation.
Everyone is Country Mac.
Basically, yeah.
And Uncle Rico.
It's just so it's Letterkenney is apparently the name of this this rural farm town out in the middle of Canada somewhere, and because it's Canada, everyone really likes hockey. I don't know. I literally don't even know how to describe this show because I could talk.
Is it comedy first and foremost?
It's a comedy. Yes, it's a comedy. I could describe like the situations and what's happening in the show, but it wouldn't sound funny.
Okay. Yeah, I gotcha.
It's one of those shows where like the mannerisms of the characters and the situations they're in, and more than anything else, to me, the dialogue is really what sold it. I'm sure you can find like opening clips of like the very first episode on YouTube, and it's basically the main character who works on a farm. He runs a produce stand with like his sister and a couple friends. They're in a ribbing match with these two hockey players from their town, and it's just them going back and forth. The dialogue is very fast paced. This is one of the shows that I actually decided to watch with the captions on, so I wouldn't miss everything that was saying. Plus, everyone's got just enough of an accent that it was valuable to me to have that extra clarification of what people were saying. But I am not really doing a good job of selling this show. The show sells itself. I was at a friend's house. It was like midnight. He was like, people have been trying to get me to watch this show for weeks, and I was just like, I don't know. This doesn't really seem like my thing. But we were bored, and it was midnight, and he was like, dude, all right, listen, I'm going to put on one episode, and if you don't like it, we can just go to sleep. And I ended up watching 3 that night, and then I came home the next day and finished the rest of the season. There's like 6 of them out right now. I was watching it on Hulu, I think. I think all the seasons are as short as season 1, but based on season 1, I'm obsessed. I want to keep watching now. So, a high recommendation. Maybe look up some clips on YouTube instead of taking my word for it, because this time I feel like my word was really shitty.
You didn't paint a picture with words.
Americans could learn a little from shorter seasons.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure. HBO's good about it. Outside of them, there's a real lesson to be learned.
Yeah.
On keeping it shorter and to the point. The Marvel Netflix shows would have a much more impressive legacy if they made those 8 or even 10 episodes instead of all 13.
I don't think I'd watch them even then, though. I'm good without it.
All right, guys, I played one that I think will be somewhat surprising, and I doubt anyone here has played it, which is for the NES, Digital Devil Story, Megami Tensei.
Oh, shit.
I am familiar with Megami Tensei.
Right. So, Digital Devil Story is the first Megami Tensei game.
Mm-hmm.
I said it was for NES. I actually played a SNES remake of it. This is my first time playing through a fan translation.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Of a game.
Okay.
And it's a simple enough story and simple enough gameplay mechanics that I think it was totally fine. Nothing jumped out as a glaring issue of like, oh, that doesn't seem right. That seems unprofessional. At the very least, it's better than like Final Fantasy VII's translation anyway. This is also the first game I've ever played where it's a turn-based RPG that's in a first-person perspective, like the old Dragon Quest games.
Mm-hmm.
This is my first time doing that, and I thought that was going to be something that made it feel a little more dated and hard for me to deal with, but it didn't really matter because that doesn't fundamentally change the gameplay. What they really do, and I don't know if Dragon Quest works the same way, but you kind of just get a sprite of one single enemy in front of you, and you get a visual indicator of how many of that enemy there is, instead of seeing each individual one. And it's good enough to get the point across. Are either of you familiar with the general story of the Megami Tensei franchise?
They're pretty much all based around, like, not capturing demons, but, like, convincing them to serve in your party, right?
Yeah.
Right, and that's true all the way back to this very first game. So, Megami Tensei is first of all, a trilogy of novels that have never received official translations. The first two of the three have had fan translations, and apparently people don't really like those books because no one has bothered to do three. So, it seems they're not really worth going back to. But I mention it only because this game apparently replaces the third book of that story.
Okay.
So two of them were out, and then this game was made as a sequel. So, as of the very beginning of this game, there are already demons, and it just opens with a general summary of the previous two books. And the general summary is character wrote computer program that unleashed demons. That's really the general gist of it. There's more detail, whatever. But I like the kind of combination of genres going on here, where this feels sci-fi and fantasy and horror at the same time. Maybe at this point in the franchise, the sci-fi is a little limited because it's really just the backstory. But it's interesting to be like dungeon crawling and running into these like fantasy figures and these demons, and just the general, like, you know, you're in dungeons. The general atmosphere is spooky. So I dug the combination there. I don't know what you would, beyond turn-based RPG, I don't know what you would call this particular style of game, but it's the kind of thing where you're straight up in dungeons the entire time, and it's just finding your way around the maze. So, you know, you press up and you take another step forward down the hallway, press right to turn right, those kind of one move at a time tank controls.
Okay.
But as you said, Josh, this game does have a feature of recruiting demons. And so rather than trying to fight them, you can try to talk to them and convince them to join you. And we just lost Josh, but don't stop your recording anyway.
Nah. This is going to be funny to edit.
All right. I did not get back into this smoothly. What was the last thing I said? We just lost Josh.
About Pokemon.
All right. We managed to lose Josh for a while. We'll see if he manages to pop back in. I don't know if his internet broke or if we upset him.
I think he's mad about the not being involved in our Let's Plays on YouTube, which you should go listen and watch.
Yes, could be. But Megami Tensei, I was saying, you recruit these demons to help fight with you, and then there's actually a feature where there's fusion. You combine them together to make better demons.
Mm-hmm.
And
I heard this game got a lot of flack by religious folks alike.
So the first significant handful of Megami Tensei games didn't get released in the US just because of the religious imagery.
Yeah. Which is funny because there was a lot of religious imagery in Pokemon's United States releases back in the day.
Well, even then, like, that had a lot of it cut out. The Zelda games had a lot of it cut out. This is a good bit older than the Pokemon games, too. True. I think this did manage to come to the US by the time Pokemon was around, I believe. In any case, yeah, I really enjoyed the fusion feature. I really enjoyed... I surprisingly didn't feel the need to grab a guide for a lot of it.
Really?
I was having a lot of fun just navigating the dungeon on my own and trying to combine these demons on my own. It took me a while to discover that you could actually press a button that opened a map. It never points that out to you, and I assumed you didn't have a map because you have a spell called Mapara that when you cast it, you then get a mini map. And so I kind of assumed, oh, that must be all you get, and I didn't think about it any further. So I made it, a couple floors into the first dungeon before discovering that was there, and I was kind of bummed when I did, because I had started honestly considering hand drawing a map, which I never did, not playing this kind of game in this era. But, I had memorized in my head the first few floors, didn't feel the need to look up a guide yet, and then I was like, yeah, maybe I got to start drawing a map if I want to get the rest of the way down. And so I kind of wish I hadn't discovered the map feature, so I could have kept doing that.
Besides, the spell Mapara sounds way cooler than summoning a map.
Yeah. The map also only draws where you've actually traveled to, so it doesn't explore. It doesn't ruin the exploration mechanics at all.
Okay, gotcha.
So exploring still feels plenty rewarding. The game looks really good.
Okay.
At least on the Super Nintendo remake, which I should say is actually called, if I'm pronouncing this right, Kyoyaku or Kyoyaku Megami Tensei. It's a remake containing the first two Megami Tensei games. So the first two were Nintendo games, and then they were packaged together as Kyoyaku Megami Tensei, and I've played the first of the two within that remake. I opened the Nintendo version for a little while, and it doesn't hold up so good. It is mostly the same game, but the visual improvements are substantial, and the audio improvements are substantial. And actually, the SNES version is worth checking out just because it has a fantastic soundtrack.
Okay.
We're definitely gonna, even if we have to figure it out by ear and the internet has no help for us, we're gonna end up covering at least a thing or two from here, because this music is killer, which is, I think this franchise as a whole, or maybe it's just Persona, but I think this franchise as a whole is known for having great music. I've loved what I've heard of Persona, not that it resembles this in any way. I didn't know that legacy went all the way back. This game also has moon cycles in it, and this is interesting because
do certain demons come out in different phases of the moon?
It's not different demons. The demons just become more aggressive.
Okay.
So as you approach the full moon, they become more aggressive. They become harder to recruit. You go down in a new moon and you get the opposite effect. You're going to go through several cycles in the process of navigating a dungeon, though. So it's interesting because you could get to, let's say you actually start at the top of a dungeon. So you get to the second to last, third to last floor, and you're around the new moon, and you're like, yeah, all right, I'm safe here, I'm doing good. But then by the time you find your way down to the last floor, you've already gone back to a full moon, and now the demons are more dangerous while you're at the bottom of it. And I think we're getting Josh back.
Hey!
All right, minus
his face.
video for the moment.
I'm okay with that. We don't need to see your fucking ugly face. No.
Nobody does. That's why this is an audio podcast.
Yeah. All right. Well, we just got Josh back, and Josh, I had just finished discussing Megami Tensei, and I was saying, look up the.
I agree with everything that Dalton said.
I was saying, look up the soundtrack. It's fantastic. But the soundtrack for Kyoyaku Megami Tensei, the SNES remake, not the NES version, the improvements were substantial. I am thrilled that I decided to start the franchise back this far. I figured that by the time I got up to Persona 3, 4, 5, the ones that are really well known and appreciated in the States, maybe they'll finally be back to PC, and so I'll just start with all the other parts of that franchise and hope it happens by the time I get there. And I'm loving it so far. I was surprised I kept going with this style of game that I'd never delved into.
Okay. Yeah, I've been interested in doing the same thing. I've watched some videos about some Super Nintendo games that you need to look up, and one of them was this game. Do you recommend it, and should I play it?
Yeah, I recommend it.
Should I play it?
I would say play it and give it a half hour, and within a half hour you'll know what you're getting, and you'll know if you're better off sticking it out and finishing it, or just looking up the rest.
You'll know it's true love within a half hour.
Yeah, it's
okay.
The game doesn't catch you off guard and become a totally different style halfway through. You know what you're getting very quickly.
Okay.
Which is a fun little dungeon crawling, demon slaying and partnering adventure with some sick music.
I'm surprised that you didn't go the route of me going, guys, demons.
Demons, guys.
Yeah, demons.
All right. Either of you got anything else?
Aside from the stuff we've been doing with Limit Break, which, has been... I know I've probably been annoying the hell out of you with it, just constantly, hey, I did this, hey, I did that, hey, listen to this. Do you like this? Does it make you happy? Does it make me pretty?
The answer is no.
To all of it?
I don't listen to Limit Break, and you guys shouldn't either.
Yeah, because it's not out yet.
Anyway, you guys got anything?
I got a lot of things that I'm in the middle of right now that I probably shouldn't talk about yet because I'm not done. I know we talked about this a little bit before going on the air, Dalton, but I've been playing Fire Emblem Three Houses for the past week and a half or so lately. It's taken up most of my free time and is probably going to continue to do so for the foreseeable future. I have absolutely no idea when I'll be able to talk about that because this game is fucking huge.
Really?
Oh my god, it's massive.
Okay.
I think what I'm going to do is I will consider myself able to talk about it when I've finished one of the three main paths of the game.
I think there's four, right? I think one of those three splits into two.
That's a spoiler, but you're right.
All right, fair enough. I've also barely started that game. I'm sure it will take me longer than you because I am in the middle of 10 different games for some reason.
Yeah, and I started it too.
It's just how I do.
Because... Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there are three of us and there are three houses, so if we all just pick a different house, then we could spotlight it and talk about it.
Team Instinct.
Yes, I was just going to go there too. Josh, what team are you in Pokemon Go?
It's funny because I'm Team Mystic in Pokemon Go, and I also picked the blue team, the Blue Lions in Fire Emblem Three Houses.
I'll allow it because Mystics are cool. Valors suck. I'm calling out all Team Valors.
We can all...
These are opinions on things that matter.
Team Valor are the frat bros of Pokemon Go, and everyone knows it.
I just remember seeing this meme, and it was like a group of Mystics. It was like a stick figure thing, and it was just a group of Mystics and Instincts together, and they were hanging out, and it just goes, oh no, here comes Team Valor, and it's just like a shit pile of stick figures like flailing everywhere and just pooping. Like, I'll send you guys that meme if I find it. It's so good.
I think I initially saw that meme as Xbox and PlayStation gamers finding PC gamers.
I've seen many variations of that meme, yes.
Oh, it's so good.
I missed that one. All right, guys, I went and watched something that our guest last week brought up. I finally made my way to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the newest Quentin Tarantino movie.
Was he right about the feet?
So, absolutely.
Okay.
So I was going to put this off until the home release because, Alex, of course, we're watching these together for the Spotlight episodes, and I figured I'd just wait until then to watch it.
Yeah.
But I'm thrilled I decided to go see it in a theater.
Okay.
His assessment was perfect. I think he made only 2 notes, the first of which is that there are close-ups of feet everywhere. And boy, that is more accurate than it's ever been in a Tarantino movie, to the point where he's honestly just fucking with you.
Really?
His other note was that the movie, for most of its length, seems relatively normal and tame. It's not like an action movie in any sense. And then all of a sudden, horrific, gruesome violence. And it's fantastic. This movie, do either of you know the premise of this movie? Because we didn't really explain it last week either.
I don't.
I've got no clue, and I don't know if you want to say any more, except I don't.
General summary, not spoilers, just concept here. The main characters are played by Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio, and they are fictional characters within the real Hollywood of the 60s. So most of the surrounding characters are real people, and you witness interpretations of real events. Like like you witness people that are like, there's an actor portraying Steve McQueen, an actor portraying Bruce Lee, Margot Robbie portraying Sharon Tate. So there's these real people in this story. And then this is kind of a, it's called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So this is kind of a fairy tale version of it, where it takes a particular alarming, memorable event of the real world in the 60s and says, yeah, but what if these two fictional characters were here?
Okay.
It's fantastic solely on the grounds of Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio to begin with. This is honestly, I'd have to rewatch some things, but this might be my favorite performance out of both of them. And those are people I regard very highly. It's a hard one to not spoil, though. You have to be patient. It's definitely Tarantino in the vein of being 3 hours long, and not every scene is contributing to meaningfully moving the story forward. It's the kind of thing where you just got to appreciate the current scene for what it is. Okay. And not really worry yourself about what you're building to. If you've appreciated Tarantino so far, then you're used to that and you know what you're getting. Tarantino has long said that he will make 10 films and then call it a day so that he can have as perfect of a filmography as possible and not, go off his rocker in his old age and ruin his own legacy. And so far at 9 out of 10, it holds up. I have a hard time ranking this among the others. I was already not able to pick a favorite Tarantino movie. Maybe that'll change during our current marathon. But when I tried to figure out where does this sit for me, it could have been anywhere from 1 to 5. I really don't know. But the point is, it holds up. He's not losing it. We'll see if if whatever his 10th movie is, we'll see if that's as great as he's known for. But I was thrilled with this.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, I already said I've been pretty busy. Josh, you got anything?
Nope. Think I'm good for now.
Okay.
All right. I am content with the amount of backlog I have worked through.
Oh, well, look at you being all special and shit.
Yeah. I feel better now. There's some weight off my shoulders. It's still like 15 things deep. So, but
taking that out of context,
we're gonna call it a day there and record our next spotlight on Celeste.
Yeah.
So look forward to that, and thanks for listening.
Have fun. Goodbye.